Okay, it's your buddy, it's your pal Mike Messier with your Black Panther review thoughts. I saw the movie tonight, or last night, February 15th, 2018, the year of our Lord, in Mystic, Connecticut. Now, for those not familiar with Mystic, Connecticut, it's not exactly, it's a seaport town, it's a watery town, it's kind of a tourist trap. The theater was in the middle of a kind of a quaint shopping village, and I had just had dinner at a place called the Steak Loft, where I did not eat steak. I had some seafood, I'll admit to that, and some salad. Now, I just mentioned this because, it's being in Mystic, Connecticut several times in my life. It's not exactly, an African American densely populated area as far as I can tell. So, which is kind of interesting in a humorous way that a good portion of the theater populace tonight was African American. So glad to see that Mystic is an integrated town. I mean, it's not 1955, but I've never seen so many good African American folks together with white folks like myself, still Caucasian after all these years. So it was nice to see a good group coming out. I'd say about probably 80% full. One of these luxury theaters. I actually got my ticket to the movie quite early in the day, thinking that there might be a chance of a sellout, and it was pretty close. I mean, it was probably 90% full. Everyone was very comfortable. One of those luxury cinemas. I'm going to take off. Well, I'm afraid to take my glasses off because I might hurt my eyes. Um, so what do I think of the movie? So spoiler alerts, folks. First of all, I'll give it a thumbs up. This was a different feel for the movie, and look, I don't think I even saw any previews or commercials for Black Panther before it came out, and I'm sure that they've been all over the place, and maybe I saw some in passing, but when I got into the theater, I couldn't really recall having seen any previews or trailers. So I kind of went in there with a blank slate. I didn't look for any fucking, spoilers or gossip or anything. I just wanted to see the movie. And yeah, what got me in the door? Maybe it was because, people aren't giving. Someone on ESPN mentioned this, that Shaquille O'Neal had done some superhero movies way back when. Maybe not the best received. And then the Blade, Wesley Snipes, I think he did 3 or 4 Blade films. One of them had Triple H. And of course, I've worked with Wesley myself in Hard Luck. But, I guess they're trying to promote it as the first, black superhero movie, even though with if you call Blade a vampire hunter, or I don't know why you wouldn't count Shaq's movie, but in any event, maybe they meant the Marvel universe, and I hate that whole universe crap. But I will say this: once the movie started tonight, and they do that whole Marvel kind of opening montage of animation that you've seen with Spider-Man and other films from Marvel, it's kind of nice. That's building something with me. It's probably built something with others before. We get into the movie. Now, the first scene, I felt lost, to be honest with you. I did feel, what the fuck is going on here? And it was one of these deals where I'm not familiar with the comic. I'm not familiar with any of the storylines. I'm not the hugest fucking comic book guy in the world, although I might look that way, or that I would be that type of way of comic aficionadohood. But I don't sit there and read comics all day. So I really didn't know what was going on. But I did find there's a lot of serious themes, and there was a quote, so spoiler alerts, folks, a quote at the end of the movie. So please, if you're going to see the movie, I'm giving you the heads up. Spoilers are coming, so you might want to watch. You might want to come back to me after you see it. But at the end of the movie, spoiler, here we go. The defeated bad guy is kind of the nemesis, but he's not even a real evil guy. But he just says, he says a very good quote, which is, "Bury me in the ocean so I can die like my ancestors who jumped from slave ships because they knew it was better to die than live in bondage." Very good stuff. a great writing, great performance, and that character. And I'm just going by my memories, folks. I don't know the names of all these characters, but I thought he was the most dynamic character, and the actor did a great job. I do find that the main good guy, or protagonist, if you would, was noble but boring. I guess he just... And I do feel, I'll be honest with you, as an actor, he just didn't do much for me. Now, if that guy's famous and does some TV show or some fucking Netflix original thing, I guess I haven't seen it. No offense to him. But I did find that I think like his younger sister and the love interest, and you had some great supporting characters in this thing with Forrest Whitaker and Angela Bassett. Nice to see them in a major motion picture. I just didn't find that the main guy was really riveting. I felt like he was sturdy, but he wasn't like a young Denzel in the making. Not that every, black African-American actor has to be Denzel, but he just didn't really do it for me. I mean, it sounds so cliche. It's like the white movie critics say, oh, he's not Denzel. Well, thanks. You're not Olivia either, right, pal? Or not every Italian guy is fucking Pacino. But I mean, I'm just saying this guy is not Denzel. He's just not that good. But the guy who played the opposite, the antagonist, who I really felt that his character, coming from, the urban plight, 1992, Los Angeles, the Rodney King era, it's kind of cool for Rodney King to have a whole era named after him, for just getting beat up from a parking ticket and all the wonderful chaos that ensued. That's sarcasm. But I felt that he was the most well-developed character, the supposed antagonist. What else? I don't know. I liked the movie. It was definitely different. Oh, this is what I remember. I had a probiotic drink before I saw this film, and then I had just gone to a nice dinner by myself of salad and fish, stuffed sole at the steak loft. Yeah, the pescatarian in the steak loft. Imagine that. So I'm in the fucking movie, and I sat really close, because the only downside with some of these luxury cinemas is that the chairs are so big. If you're in the back row, you're really going to be uncomfortably far from the screen. I wanted to see this thing, so I got there. I had a nice end cap seat, second row, but it was still a good view. I had a backpack with me and a fucking jacket and all this shit. So I leave all my stuff in the chair to go to the restroom and come back. And of course I come back, like the movie's just about to start at 7. And there's like date night has like sat next to me. Now luckily it was the girl now these are big luxury seats, but I'm like a solo artist. I'm just flying solo. And it occurred to me to put my backpack on the chair next to me as a scarecrow effect to not allow other people. Scarecrow being when you put stuff on a chair so that other people can't sit there. But it's like the girl sits down next to me, and then she's with her date guy, some millennial fuck with a beard, and I'm like, I mean, not that I want to pretend that she's my date, but it's like I just feel weird, because now I'm like kind of like this third fucking appendage to date night. And I even acknowledged them. I said, hi, how you doing? And they didn't say anything back to me. I'm like, can we just be human? I mean, you're sitting next to me. You're in my fucking zero here. You're in my spot. But it was fine, I guess. Any good previews? I don't remember any good previews. The movie was good. It was long. It did feel like, I mean, it wasn't horribly god-awfully. It was long, but it felt like every scene was merited. Okay, so it did feel like, okay, I'm here a little bit, but I just think I didn't want to be in the movie tonight. Like, I kind of just want to see this movie just to get it over with, just to say I could see it. But, I mean, it was a nice theater. It was a nice screen. I don't know if it's a 3D movie. I didn't see it in 3D, so I had it in 2D. It was a good movie. I guess it's just one of those deals where, like, casting is fucking huge. And I don't think this guy was horrible, but he was just so sturdy to the point of being... I'm talking about the actor's performance. I really am critiquing it. He was so sturdy. He was a little... insignificant in his own film. I mean, that antagonist actor, maybe he just had more to work with, because he had more of an arc. And I think the themes were, look, this is just white guy America talking, but I think these themes will be analyzed for months and years to come, and people will write fucking blogs about it. But I think there is this whole kind of metaphor of, and more spoiler alerts, the African American individual, person, or society, African American, who's kind of corrupted by America and really loses touch with their kingdom or their kinghood or their princehood from Africa. So this American villain is really representing the corruption that the black society, African American society, has suffered through the evil white man. And being a white guy, I can see that as a metaphor. I wasn't offended by it, but also there was a white character in the movie who was kind of like. He was like the bone, and I don't know if he's in the comic or not because I don't read the fucking comic. But he's like the white guy that the white guys in the audience can be like, hey, look, we're not so bad, because there was like a nice white guy in the movie who's like an assistant good guy. Like he's not the real good guy, but he's like an assistant good guy. And he's kind of like he kind of does what a lot of black characters do in predominantly white cast films. He's just the assistant who's noble and friendly and doesn't really do much. So that's fine. There was a lot of, we get into this tribalism in this movie, which we're talking about, in Africa, there's these tribes and they're fighting. And some of the themes of, I don't know if there are themes or just coincidences of kind of, I don't want to call it black on black crime, but it's mostly an African American or African cast or whatever, or characters. But to see them beat each other up and hurt each other, just was the timing was a little bad coming off these school shootings. Not that it has anything to do with anything. It's just, okay, there was some pretty hardcore in the opening montages. Some gunfire, characters getting shot, like in the head. And it's just like, man, we just had this fucking school shooting like 2 days ago. So I'm just saying that was one thing that was a little disturbing was whenever you have a movie that has some violence in it, and you're just coming off a real-life violent situation with this Florida thing, school shooting, it's tough sometimes because you have to, you can't not have guns and stuff in movies because that's part of the deal with a lot of movies, but it's sad because then you think about real life and so forth. I remember a long time ago there was a Jack Nicholson movie which had a scene with a Ford Bronco and like a chase or some such thing. And people say, oh man, it's just like OJ, because the OJ thing had happened a couple of days earlier. So on and so forth, so on and so forth. I would say that Black Panther's worth seeing. I would like, I don't know if I'll go see it again, but if it came on TV, I'd watch it. And I'll go see the damn sequel. But it was nice to see Forrest in there. It was nice to see Angela Bassett. I really did like that antagonist guy. He was kind of the scene stealer for me. Every scene he was in, but like I said, maybe his character just had more fun to it, or more of an arc. The main guy, I mean, he's good enough to keep for the next one, or whatever the fuck, but I mean, I don't know if I necessarily would be on his, fan club, you know what I mean? It's not that he was bad, it's just that he didn't have that spark in his eye that really, transcended this movie into an all-time classic. And I do think sometimes they cast these superhero movies especially with safe picks. I mean, I know the inside scoop. When they were doing the Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man, there was actually a movement with some of those folks this is an inside story, folks, to use James Franco as Spider-Man, who was a relative unknown at the time. But that's because he was an unknown, they didn't really trust him to carry the franchise. So they put Franco in, I think, as the friend, and then of course he turned on him in the sequels back in that 2006 era, whatever the fuck, or even 90s, I guess, whatever the fuck it was. So blah 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 blah. Overall, Black Panther is a good movie. I enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's good that some of these more intense themes are being raised. I think there will be people doing research papers about this. What is the metaphor of, but for me the metaphor was just America has corrupted a great portion of its own people, and I'm not arguing that. I'm really not. If that's the case, you can make it and say that we gotta get back to the motherland, Africa. I mean, we all do. So it's Mike Messier. I'm just laughing at myself, and then just saying, here's your goddamn movie review. Black Panther. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. But I hope you've enjoyed my review. And you're welcome to say, go fuck off, Mike, and your stupid views of things. But I enjoyed the film. And I had a coffee and a candy bar. My tooth started to hurt. So maybe less candy in the future. Okay, Mike Messier, you've watched my review.